I will try to present my ideas for which I consider will help us to reduce the workload on board the ships. You have all noticed that paperwork is increasing daily. So how we ended here? So let's assume that we are all working in a company. So how many are we here, Apostolos? 200? 300?
No, more.
Yeah.
Let's say 300.
300 professionals involved in various shipping sectors. We all have brilliant ideas. So if we work in one company, these ideas will be transferred in procedures very soon, and these procedures will be sent where? Will be sent on board. The result is that 300 procedures need to be processed by just a few people on board, and this is on an add-on basis. That's what we are doing every day and every year. People are on the limits with paperwork. We tend to forget that despite the enormous technological changes and the strict safety requirements, shipping is still a dangerous profession. The only way to minimize the danger is to give emphasis on shipping, or on seamanship. And what is seamanship? Seamanship is a combination of academic and experience-based knowledge needed with professional pride and common sense. We are losing seamanship. We don't want our people to think, and this is dangerous. We all know that new requirements are arising every day. Many times it is very hard to me to follow up the new requirements, so imagine how hard it is for the people on board. Rules and regulations. The majority of regulations and rules are developed by scientific personnel, and the wording is checked very thoroughly by lawyers in order to ensure that legal implication in the implementation phase will be kept as low as possible. As a result, in most of the cases, the wording is scientific, and people on board cannot follow them. They don't understand them. A good example is CFR. So you start reading the first line, and immediately after it is a reference. Then what you do? You change the page, you go in the reference, start reading there, and soon after there is another reference, and another reference, and so on. So in the end of the day, you are lost. The only way to know the requirements is either to be a lawyer with a good team behind you, or to know the laws by heart. The implementation of ISM and various quality systems has created the monster of paperwork. Although I'm a great fan and supporter of ISM, but we have somehow misunderstood ISM, and we are concentrated on papers. We are creating disturbance in the daily works the crew is performing, and this has imminent dangers behind it. Crew members feel that the extra workload caused by paperwork will soon lead to marine accidents. They are trying to find free time to complete all these documents that we are requesting. And as a result, they are trying to do it even when they are performing critical operations, such as bridge watches or cargo watches and other critical operations. In this respect, I believe that in the ISM, the SMS system should not allow fundamental critical operations to be, to be obscured by paperwork. So we should not allow our people to complete papers and bureaucratic processes when they are performing the daily critical jobs. So some decades back, when we were boarding the ships, we used to see Abies on deck carrying a piece of rag in the back pocket. So anytime they were spotting a greasy spot or an oily surface, they were cleaning it. Now we are seeing people carrying checklists. As a result, The guy carries the checklist, he falls on the oil, he falls down, and the other goes and fills the slips and falls and trips checklist. On the other hand, we have all heard that there are magic systems. There are systems that they can treat all our problems. So experience has shown the opposite. The majority of these systems are finally adding more and more paperwork. And where we ended, we need a checklist to find the checklist. Otherwise, you are lost. You cannot find what you want. I believe that despite all these disappointing things, there is a key which is capable to help us find the solution. That key is understanding. But understanding what? First, we must define what is bureaucracy, what is paperwork. Paperwork is any official document that needs to be prepared for something to happen or to be done. Then we must categorize these documents. There are 5 basic categories of documents: the routine operational documents, the safety-related documents, the technical and maintenance documents, the quality environmental documents, and finally, my favorite ones, the security documents. I will tell you about those further down. So routine operational documents. Routine operational documents are the documents that involved with formalities, port authorities, and the cargo-related documents, as well as class and certification. So there is not much room for changes in this area, since every country has its own requirements, every charter has its own requirement, every agent has its own requirement. So we have to live with that, and we have to continue the way it is. Safety documents, inspections, checklists, and all the other documents required by the SMS. All these documents have created a significant amount. All these documents contain a significant amount of information that the crew has to complete repeatedly in each form. So you need to complete a certain checklist. You have to write up the ship's name, the captain's name, the voyage number, and so on, as well as other information which are all contained in companies' ERP systems. So the solution on that is to develop smart forms, forms that will be autocomplete certain areas of a checklist, so that the crew will have only to complete the certain areas which are important for the specific information. Technical documents. If not all, then the majority of records related to performance should be eliminated. Today, we are in the peak of technology. There are systems which are automatically transmitting all this information. There is no need to punish people to send those information. So upgrade our systems and make the systems transmit automatically all this information we require in the offices. And in the office, we have plenty of people, more than enough, I believe, to do that job. Quality and environmental documents. What to say? With the assistance of our colleagues, class, flag, consultants, us, we have created that monster. Everyone requires a checklist. A checklist to do whatever you want. A checklist to fall asleep, a checklist to wake up, a checklist to drink water, and so on. Seafarers believe that all these documents are meaningless, and all these documents are not adding a lot in quality. I'll give you an example. Except Marpol, all companies have a recycling policy. Our crews are required to separate garbage in various categories. Many times when the ship arrives on board, sanitary inspectors are boarding, doing an inspection, and finding ships because food waste is found contaminated. For example, a strap or a plastic strap of cigarettes was found in the food waste, or a Chiquita banana sticker was still sticked on the banana, then they are fining the ships. So usually the fine is high. Then the continuation. The company pays the fine and arrange the garbage to be collected. So the crew have all the separated garbage, and then somebody comes and put everything in the same truck. How? How on earth we can convince our people that they have to do that separation when they see that all garbage are going in the same store? So it's ineffective. Security documents. Why? This is the USS Cole. Back in 12th of October 2000, she was anchored and refueled in Yemeni, in the Gulf, in the port of Aden, and some suicide bombers donated some explosive charges. So 17 American sailors were killed and 39 were injured. A warship, which is the last word of technology, with 338 persons on board, could not deter the terrorist attack. So now we are asking 4 members on board a tanker of 330 meters long length and 60 meters wide to detect and deter terror. If a terrorist managed to pass a facility like this in the picture, then be sure that he will not face any problem to pass the gangway watch. It is more than sure that he will board. We have security level 1, 2, 3, and so on. And okay, I understand security level 1 and 2, I understand it. Although I'm not happy to live in a ship performing cargo operations and have all doors locked. But that's what I can't understand is security level 3. If a port is in a security level 3, then the ship is not permitted to call because the port is an unsafe port. If the ship is at port and the security level is raised to security level 3, then authorities will guide the ship what to do. Then why we need all this documentation and all these meaningless papers that we are completing on board? There is only one valid requirement. Patrol, detect, and report any suspicious person or activity on board. That's the only thing the crew can do. The rest is with the authorities or with the port or with others, not with us. Otherwise, there is a solution. Put some machine guns on board the ship and an armed platoon, and maybe they will attack terrorists. So what we need? We need to have effective rules. We have to review our rules, and we have to make them effective. Sorry, I missed my papers. So what is a rule? A rule is a piece of advice. Don't put me these papers. You are confusing me. A piece of advice, the best way to do something. So we have compliance rules, procedural rules, and action rules. Compliance rules should define measurable goals to be achieved. The specific rules should leave the autonomy to seafarers to achieve the measurable goals. By this way, they will exercise seamanship, and this is something we want. Then we have the procedural rules, which should define the sequence of actions or instructions to be followed to solve some problems. Procedures in form of flow chart is the best way to guide our crews how things have to be done. And in the end, we have the action rules, which should define concrete actions, and that will be removing almost all freedom and choice.
End of time. We should place a bomb over there. I'm thinking.
I'm in shipping industry. I'm working late. So.
Maybe we should put a checklist.
Okay. So the action rules should define concrete actions. These rules should not leave any freedom to the seafarers to think. They have to follow specific instructions. And this is in case of emergencies. Conclusions. I'm going to run very fast. So, from the Liberty days until now, what has changed? For the captain, nothing. He has to load, to stow, and carry his cargo and his crew safely from one port to the other. We must never forget that the ship is not a classroom or a room like this where we can have discussions, have Mr. Apostolos here ringing bells, putting papers to tell us stop, where we have plenty of time to discuss and take a solution. On board the ship, the conditions many times are very difficult. And I heard this morning about ships without crew. Imagine that ship on the right picture without a crew. It's not an office. A beautiful environment. When we sit, we have coffee, freddoncino, and all that. We discuss and find solutions. And it's not an aircraft, because I heard something about aviation, Maria. It is not an aircraft. Aircrafts are falling. We are sinking. It's different. Okay? The aircraft has a maximum duration of a voyage 15 hours, and the pilot is not on duty more than 8. Not the captain if he's in Mississippi and has to go to Baton Rouge. It may take him 3 days. And all the rest about resting hours, forget it. This is a myth. And finally, it's not a spaceship. It's not Enterprise. Definitely it's not. It is just a truck which carries cargo, nothing more. Conclusions. Legislators should understand that procedures applicable in other industries cannot be served to us as they are. They have to be modified. They have to be made specific for shipping. Ship managers also should understand they cannot ask more and more tasks from the same crew. If they have ideas, keep them for their own. So the crew knows exactly what to do. Seamanship is only gained by an effective on-the-job training. That's the only training on board we can do. We must not forget that never a vessel sank because a piece of paper was missing. Never. And the last but not least, the master is not a lawyer, neither holds a PhD on scientific environmental aspects. He's a trained professional who has learned his entire life to carry the cargo and the crew safely from one port to the other. So we should leave them to do what he best can. Thank you.